In this video, we are going to talk about slope. This is lesson 3.18, so this is the part 1 of slope. The first thing that we're going to talk about are types of slopes. Types of slopes. Okay, there are 4 types of slopes. Okay, there is negative, no slope, also called zero slope, positive slope, and then there is undefined slope. Okay, now it's really important whenever we are talking about especially negative and positive. These are the main two. When we're trying to decide if a slope is negative or positive, it's really important that we look at the slope from left to right. Okay, so if we look at the left side here, if we start at the left, we notice that it's up high, and as we move to the right, the slope goes down. So that's why it's negative, okay? With the positive, same thing. If we start on the right, see where it starts on the right, it's low. And as we move to the right, we notice that it goes up, 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 up. So it's positive. So it's really important whenever you're determining whether a slope is negative or positive that you look at it left to right. When we look at no slope or zero slope, that's just a flat line. Okay, so think about if you were skiing, right? When we think about a slope, a lot of times we think about skiing. Think about if you're skiing and you just had a flat surface, okay, that's no slope. There's no slopes there. It's zero. It's just a flat surface, okay? And then an undefined slope is straight up and down. It's not even no slope. It's like a cliff. You don't have anything there. So we call that undefined, straight up and down line. Here is just a quick review of the coordinate plane. We should all know all of this stuff that's already on here. Okay, you have 4 quadrants that are broken up. We start in the top right-hand corner with quadrant 1, and then we move counterclockwise to find the rest of the quadrants. So top right is quadrant 1, then we move to the left is quadrant 2, down is quadrant 3, and then to the right is quadrant 4. Okay, the origin right here is 0, 0. Okay, the x-axis is the one that goes left and right. The y-axis goes up and down. And then a point, also called a coordinate, is an ordered pair. And we talk about the ordered pair in x, y terms. So we list our x-axis number first, and we always start at the origin at this 0, 0 here. And we count. See, so we're going to count on the x. We go -1, -2, -3, -4. That's where that point lies on the x-axis. So that's why it's -4. Then here, if we start at the origin, okay, and we go up 1, 2, 3, okay, then that's a +3. So that's where we would say that point is at -4, 3. To find the slope of a line, so right here we're looking at a positive slope, because again, if we start at the left and look to the right, okay, we're going left to right, we're going up, 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 so that's a positive slope, okay? So we know that our number is going to have to be positive, okay? In order to find the slope of the line, okay, we're going to find the rise over the run, or you're also going to see it as delta y. This is called delta. It means change. Okay, you're going to find the change in the y over change in x. These two things mean the same thing. Rise is the same as change in y. Run is the same thing as change in x. So the first thing that you have to do before you can find the slope is you have to find 2 good points on your line. So these are 2 points. Now when I say good points, I mean that have to go through the middle of a point. Okay, so like right here, this is not a good point because it does not go through this point exactly right here. So you couldn't pick that point. All right, we can pick these 2 points because they actually have whole numbers on the as an ordered pair. Okay, so now what we're going to do is all we're going to do is count how we get from one spot to the next, the rise over the run. So the first thing we're going to do is the rise, okay? We're going to go up, so that's positive, okay? And here we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our rise is going to be 9. And then our run, okay, we're going to go to the right now, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so our slope then is 9/8. So that tells us how we get from one point to the next on the line. So on these right here, we're going to calculate the slope, okay? Now, again, remember what I was saying earlier about you want to find two good points. All right, so if I'm looking at this line right here, here's one, but it's actually not going right through the middle. If we look, this one is probably our best point to find the rise over the run. And then we also need one more point. So we're going to go down the line right here. And this one looks to probably be our next to best point. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, okay? So on this one, all right, again, we want to look at which way the slope is going. We're going to look at it, remember, from left to right. Now, if we look at the left and move to the right, we see that it's going down. So this is a negative slope. So that means that our number is going to be negative. Oh, where did my, somehow they got erased. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to find the rise. Okay, now rise doesn't have to go up. Rise can go up or down. It doesn't matter, okay? Since right here, if we're going to start at this point, we are going to go down, okay? So we're going to count down. And since we're going down, these numbers are negative. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Okay, so we went down -6. So our top number is going to be -6. And then from here, we're going to the right now. So right is positive. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. +5. So -6/5 is going to be our slope for this one. All right, over here, again, we're going to find two good points. Okay, this one looks pretty good. And this one looks pretty good as well. Okay, so again, this is our positive slope, right? Because if we look at it from left to right, it's going up. All right, so now we're going to start at this point. Okay, if we count up 1, 2, then our slope is going to be a +2. And then we're going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's going to be 2/8 is our slope, okay? Now, if we look at this number, okay, we know that this number actually reduces, right? 2 and 8 both can be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So what that means is that there's actually another point in here in between these 2 points. That's a good point. So if we started right here, if I went up 1 and to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, see how that point is going right through the middle right there? That point is also on the line right there. Okay, so like we were talking earlier, if you're just given 2 points, okay, remember the slope is the rise over the run or the change in y's over the change in the x's, okay? Now change is just the difference, right? If we're going to talk about something changing, we're talking about the difference in it. Remember, difference means subtraction. So if you're given just 2 points, instead of lines, then we're going to find the difference between the y's and the x's. Okay, so that's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, and we're going to name our points down here x1, y1, and x2, y2. So here's our first point. So we're going to say that this is x1, y1, and here's our second point. So we're going to label it x2, y2. And we're just going to plug these numbers in, right? Y2 is going to be 5 minus Y1, which is 4, over X2, which is negative 3, minus X1, which is 2. Okay, 5 minus 4 is 1, and negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. So the slope of those 2 points is 1 over negative 5, or you could just say negative 1 over 5. Either one of those is fine. Okay. Now, again, and you can always check your answer if you just plot those points on a graph right here and check your work just by finding the slope with rise over run like we were talking about, then you'll also find the same answer. So that's always another way if you kind of run into a problem, just plot your points and do it by the graph. Okay, so here's a few more right here, all right, that we're going to calculate. Remember, we're going to use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so this first one here, we have 4, negative 3, and 2, 5. So we're going to say this is x1 and this is y1. We're going to say this is x2 and this is y2. All right, so the first one here, y2, okay, 5 minus y1. Okay, now y1 is a negative 3. Okay, over x2, which is 2, minus x1, which is 4. Okay, it's really important here. The formula says minus, so we're always going to put minus. And then if the number is negative, we want to make sure and put that in there. Now remember, a negative times a negative is a positive, so this is actually 5 plus 3 over 2 minus 4. Okay, 5 plus 3 is 8. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. So our slope is actually negative 4. Okay, or we could just say that it's negative 4 over 1. Either one of those answers are fine. It helps to write it as negative 4 over 1 because that's in order to make your graph, you have to have a rise and a run. So if you ever have a whole number, you want to just put 1 underneath it so you know where your run is at. Okay. All right. For the second one here, okay, x1, y1 is going to be 5 and 7. x2, y2 is going to be negative 3 and negative 2. Okay, so y2 is going to be negative 2 minus y1, which is 7, over y1, x2, okay, which is negative 3, minus x1, which is 5. Okay, negative 2 minus 7 is negative 9. And negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. Okay, now we can't reduce this at all, but if you notice here, we have a negative over a negative, which is actually a positive slope. Okay, so negative over negative is a positive. So that would be the answer to number 2. Okay, number 3 right here, again, I'm going to label our x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so our y2 is going to be 4 minus y1, which is 8. x2 is negative 2 minus x1, which is 11. Okay, 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Negative 2 minus 11 is negative 13. Again, we can't reduce 4 over 13 anymore, but it's the same thing where we have a negative over a negative, which is actually positive. So 4 over 13 is our answer. And that is it for part 1 of slope of a line.